And I can tell you that what the current administration continues to do with the help of the Federal Reserve has no chance of working. As a matter of fact, in 1948, Mr. Bernanke, chairman of the Federal Reserve, which is privately owned, wrote a paper with Michael Boskin, another economist. And in that paper, they said that what Mr. Bernanke is doing right now to the U.S. economy would be a failure. No, either the man is dumb or he has another agenda. And I know he's not dumb. No matter what university you teach at, if you have that job, you have to have some real good marbles running around in your head. And so the only conclusion I can come to is what he's doing deliberately to destroy the country. And that's his job. Because he, like almost all the bureaucrats and almost all the people in the Congress and the Senate, believe in world government. And that's why we needed a change. Maybe we can get some people in there that won't. If you look at my issue for Wednesday, there was a piece on the ballot in Suffolk County, Massachusetts, which is Boston, that said, would you be willing to turn over the running of your government to an international foreign entity? And the vote was relatively close, but the noes won. So there are obviously some intelligent people left in Massachusetts. But the very fact that they floated this thing tells you where this thing is headed. I mean, they want to enslave you. They want to tell you where you can live, who you can marry, what your profession's going to be, and that of your children, who's going to be allowed to breed, how many children you can have, whether you're going to live in San Francisco and your wife's going to live in New York City because that's where your jobs are, and you get to see your kids that are in a federal school in Illinois once a year for 2 or 3 weeks for vacation. You have to understand the Nazi mind. I spent years in Germany. I speak German. Long time in Italy. Know many, many of the famous officers from the Second World War, British, American, and I probably knew more German officers than I did any of the others. And the Germans never really understood what was done to them. They were suckered into a war that was planned at Versailles. But that's a whole other story. And this is where the world's headed. And you got to take care of yourself. And that means your family. These people are diabolical. They want complete control. And you don't want that kind of government. And that's what we've got, and it's going to get worse unless we stop it. And we made an effort through Congress. If it doesn't work, you know what you have to do. I don't have to make you an outline, make you pictures. You're all intelligent enough to know what the next move is.
Well, with all of that said,
silver's falling. It's only up
161
on the day.
Yeah, we got this.
It's incredible. But it's been a long time coming.
And you've been talking about this for over 5 years, Mr. Chapman. And it's time from the VFW chat in Long Beach, California, Mr. Chapman. It's been a long time that the banks should have been held accountable for their practices. that have left too many homeowners, especially here in California, without any real help. California Democrats are now speaking out in the House of Representatives calling for a federal investigation into whether financial institutions broke any laws in handling of the foreclosures. From your letter that you read earlier, do you feel that there's going to be any real investigation done?
No. The government's controlled by the banks and Wall Street. And they'll slop it over, and the banks will have to pay off the people that they screwed, and the government will give them, well, the Federal Reserve will give them the money to do that. The banks are all, if the Fed and government has its way, they're all going to be nationalized. You'll end up with a half dozen banks. This is what they're after. They've said this. I don't make this stuff up. I read all their journals. I know what they're doing. They have done for over 50 years.
All right, with that said, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a break. We'll be back just as we all planned on Wind Talkers Radio Network. Welcome back to the show, Mr. Chapman.
Well, thank you. I've been waiting here patiently, resting my vocal cords.
33 shows a day? Yeah, I guess you do. You got a number of shows to do today.
I did 1, 2, 3, 4, and I got 5, 6. I get 2 more to do.
I heard that. With 2 more to do tonight. We have a caller here. We'll bring that caller in. At least we can do that. We're having trouble getting back into the chat room, guys. Those of you, we're locked into the Marine Corps chat room. We can't get out, but we'll do everything we can to do that, and hopefully we'll be able to get that. Caller from area code 303, that's all I can tell you. It's area code 303. You're on the line.
This is your co-host for the third hour, the second hour today.
The third hour man.
This $500 or $600 billion cranking of the press that Bernanke announced yesterday. How much faster are we going to get to hyperinflation with this garbage, Bob?
It'll start showing up early in the year. They just spent about somewhere between 100 and 200 billion since June in the bond market, manipulating it, and they do that through the repo pool as well. And I expect that, in referring back to May, when I made the prediction on this show, that in 2 years they would inject $5 trillion into the economy.
Well, they're doing a good job.
$2.5 trillion a year. And the new Congress is not going to approve stimulus.
Thank goodness for
and
small
that
miracles.
means the Fed has to do it all by themselves. So they're going to buy treasuries, and they're going to buy agencies, Fannie, Freddie, Ginnie, and FHA. They're going to buy toxic garbage, which are bonds that are almost worthless, and pay the bank as much higher prices than what they're worth. You get to pay the difference. And that'll add up to $2.5 trillion a year for the next 2 years.
Well, there's $5
and yes,
trillion
we'll
right
have
there.
Inflation, probably 14% or better this coming year. And maybe we'll have hyperinflation following that. And sooner or later, the whole thing's going to collapse.
Well, maybe we can get Judy a button that she can push and the whole thing collapses yesterday. What do you say? The faster the better. Do you think so?
Well, really, that is good for the country if it would have come about quickly.
Yes, I mean
and
like yesterday.
The people
really,
in banking, Wall Street, government be exposed to the criminals that they are, and let's put them all in jail.
Well, look what they did today with the casino. What did it go up, 190 points or something like that today?
No.
It's all fraud.
220.
Oh, my goodness gracious. Imagine my surprise, Bob.
There's no
what's
reason
going to happen
for it.
tomorrow and Monday and the rest of the week and next week?
It'll probably go up again. I mean,
are we going to get up
they
to
do what they want to do.
Oh, so
there are no laws anymore. There's no court system. There's nothing.
That's for sure.
It's called dictatorial government. They just buy everybody off.
Not to mention that we had one of the most huge frauds we had in Nevada on Tuesday with Mr. Reed. He should have gone away.
Well, I think he's going to have problems with that
Nevadans wanted him out, and he won by 5 points. Something is wrong with those dots aren't connecting, as Drew would say.
Well, we have people who are subscribers that tell us they stood there and watched these vans pick up illegal aliens and take them to the polls.
How many dead people?
And they had polling places in North Las Vegas, in the markets, in the, we'll call them Latin American mercados, which is
like
a Spanish word for,
well,
you could call it a barrio. And that's what they did. And there was tremendous vote for FCIU, was running the machines, and they're criminals.
Yes, absolutely. So
and Nevada,
the ballot box
let me tell you something, Nevada is going to collapse. And there'll come a time, 5 or 10 years from now, there might be 2 or 3 casinos open in Las Vegas.
Even that many. Well,
the game is over. The public is sick and tired of getting screwed by those crooks, and they are crooks.
If we didn't have the internet, Bob, they probably would still be pulling it over on most of the dumbbell sheep who don't know how to think for themselves and want to watch their Dancing with the Stars or their, their sports. But most of us have, as you say, figured out the game or the scam, right? They can't cover it up. That's why Obama wants to shut the internet down.
That's right. And once that's gone, you better take the Cosmoline off your weapons.
You got it. Thank you both for your time, and God bless, Drew.
God bless, Al. Thank you very much. We'll see you in an hour. About 30 minutes or so. Bottom line is, Mr. Chapman, we've got this narcissistic idiot in Washington. What do you see in this trip to India and the fact that it's costing Americans $200 million a day? And then he comes out yesterday and says he needs 34 warships to guard the bay around Bombay, India, or Mumbai. What's going on here?
Well, they're trying to tell you that there's terrorists running around out there when it's a load of crap. And this make-believe bombs running around, and it's all false flag operations. Look, I was in counterintelligence. I'm not stupid. I know what they're up to. Sometimes there's real threats and sometimes there isn't. But these aren't real threats. I mean, look at the things they've done in the past. Far worse than that. And so he's trying to make people think there are bad people out there who want to get them. The bad people out there, if they're really there, I wish they'd visit Washington and New York City and do their work there. They get plenty of victims they can be chosen from. Leave the American public alone. They've got nothing to do with what's going on. If you look at the polls outside the country, you'll find that 85% of the people polled dislike the American government in most countries. But they like the American people very much. And that tells you a lot. And those numbers are going to get even wider as these people in Washington and New York struggle to try to right the system before they get caught doing what they're doing. The whole thing's falling apart on them. They can't control it.
Understood. And I want to let the audience know that many of you are mistaken on the number of people that Obama is taking to India. 3,123, and that includes the CIA, the National Security Agency, Marine security guards, and his own personal entourage, and obviously it's going to take more than 30 aircraft. Anybody out there that thinks 30 aircraft are going to be able to find 3,123 people out there, sadly mistaken. There are 52 civilian planes per private aircraft and 20 commercial aircraft.